What's good, guys? Welcome back to the Physique Collective YouTube, and welcome to the Doghouse. We're going to do a little chat here, and this is the first of what's going to be a series. We haven't got a name planned yet, whether we call it the Doghouse Sessions, the Doghouse Experience, because I'm a fan of the Joe Rogan Experience. Whatever, it's basically Physique Collective's answer to a visual podcast, and I'm here with two legendary individuals that will probably be a staple on all of these.
No pressure.
At least Brad will definitely be. So if this is your first time here, my name is Joe Jeffery. I am a contest prep coach across all categories in physique sports, and that's probably me in a nutshell. You are looking at the PCA Overall winner, the PCA Mercia Overall winner 2 days ago, and that will be a topic of conversation today. Also, why don't you guys just intro yourselves?
Go on.
You were just introduced. We
won't do this every podcast.
I'm freezing now. This bloody hell. Well, I'm Jasmin Jeffery. I am Joe's wife. I am the owner of Compact, not just speaking on podcast, and the occasional competitor. And I'm just going to leave it there because I'm so bad at introductions. So there you go, Brad.
Hi guys, I'm Brad. I am part of the Physique Collective. I am the adopted son of Joe and Jazz. Not actually, but we're going to roll with that, even though I'm older. I
was going to surprise you with the paperwork on your birthday, man.
Yeah.
You are older than me.
The adoption papers are in, but that's it. Yeah. We're just a big crew that fucking love bodybuilding, love coaching, love training the Doghouse, so here we are.
I didn't get the vape memo. I've just looked. There's like matching ones here. You guys.
We've got different tanks. Where's your big bubble?
I dropped it in Smash.
Oh, this is always a nightmare, man. There's a vape shop around the corner that you can get them for like $2.99.
Sick.
So we're into show season now, I'd say. Mm-hmm. Like we are still early doors on show season, but we've got through quite a few. You know, Arnold's is out the way, the first regional in the UK is out the way, the first pro qualifier is out the way. I think we've had like 3 PCA shows at this point, haven't we? Yeah. So we're going to keep this one pretty like contest prep based. But firstly, let's get caught up on you, Jazz, your show season. So put some context on what's happened here. 6 years ago, Jazz did her first PCA show. Well, you did your first PCA show.
PCA Hampshire.
And who was you prepped by for that show?
Corin Ingman. She didn't place, did you? Nope.
Well, did you get dead last or what?
No, I actually got first call outs, which I was really hyped with. And yeah, I got first call outs. I think I got into stage at some point. So yeah, I got first call outs. And then we did it. Well, I was coached by Austin in 2018.
Austin style.
Yeah. And then got first call outs again. Didn't place again. And then where are we going this?
So what was that? What did you say? 2018?
Yeah.
So that brings you to what? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 5 years later.
Yeah.
You haven't done the Mercia show before, have you?
No.
Has it always been at the Bedford Corn Exchange?
No, I think the PCA Mercia, I'm pretty certain that's like a new one. They've only done like
the last few years.
The past 2 or 3 years or something. Because before that, it was Matt Adams, a GPO. He kind of like owned the Battle of Bedford.
Yeah, it's the same venue they do Battle of Bedford in, right?
Yeah.
And that is a sick show. It's a good venue.
It is a good venue.
Like parking right next door, shopping centre right next door, nice big open hall.
Backstage is pretty decent as well, to be fair.
Yeah, there's loads of like private rooms backstage as well, isn't there? But anyway, so you did Bikini Tool.
Yes.
They had no trained, did they?
No, they did. No, they didn't have trained at this show.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, no.
You did Bikini Tool, which is their bikini toned, is it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and so you won your class. Class was strong, actually.
It seems to be the thing at the moment that like tall class, it would have like a decent amount of people, but I just don't know whether all the tall people have just decided to go, do you know what? We're doing this.
It seems to be the most popular that I'm seeing like across all federations at the moment.
Well, it seems to be a strange thing, right? Because like bikini short is 5'7" and under, is it?
5'5" or 5'6", isn't it? And I'm 5'11", guys, without heels. So lol.
Yeah, so tall, because they only have short and tall, don't they?
Depends on numbers sometimes. If they've got like massive classes, they might put a medium in. But I think it's like over like 12 per class.
So does tall start at 5'5"?
5'5" or 5'6".
I thought it was
and
5'7".
then
Is it 5'7" at two bros?
Two bros is 5'7". So even at two bros, like literally you have a lineup and then there's me and then it just goes back down.
I wonder if we looked at the statistics, like what percentage of the UK female population fall into each height bracket, and whether there's like a disproportionate array. Do you know what I mean? Because if like 70% of women are in the upper bracket, then they're being disproportionate. Because I mean, at every show so far, there's been like 2 or 3, like at all the two bro shows, 2 or 3 per class, and then you get to the tall class.
12.
Yeah, 12, 13, 14.
Mad.
So it is quite disproportionate. And the problem with that I've seen is that you get winners of the earlier, shorter classes that are like, they're the best in the class, but they're not as good in terms of proximity to the criteria as some of the girls that are getting 2nd, 3rd, 4th in the tall class. And then you end up, the overall isn't actually the best of the bunch.
But I think about quite a few like years, so I think, I can't remember the years, but when there's been Phoebe Goodwin, Zoe McIntosh, Jess Garrington, like I always think of them as very strong, tall class like people as well. Like there's been quite a few like years where the tall class has been so good, like any of those top 5 could win, like easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, to go back to like the whole PCA thing is 3rd time is lucky, but I did think I entered it thinking, have I actually lost the plot? Like, am I actually going to do this for the 3rd time? And I'm not gonna lie, I was absolutely crapping myself. Like,
well, when you sent your check-in pictures earlier in the week, I was like, shit. I was like, this is nuts. Like, and the standard of PCA that I've been seeing like at the start of this season, I was just like, I remember thinking in the morning, I was like, I think she got a chance of an overall here.
really?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I said it to Kerry before I left Perfect.
Stop.
Yeah, I was like, as
You funny.
as you levelled off after the Ben Weeder and as you like got settled in back to like normal fluid regulation and stuff, I started thinking, oh shit, like this actually looks really good. Like,
Yeah.
And like, because you were still in a deficit for those days as well, and obviously like running you back down to flat. And I was like, okay, like, you know, I'm very familiar with PCA standard and criteria. I was thinking, man, we're actually like in for a chance here.
You guys kept this quiet.
You know, and we went with a tweak on some previous peaks to lean more towards the PCA criteria, right? So for anybody listening that doesn't know, PCA, there's considerations for both the way you want your physique to appear on the day and also the way that you present your physique on the day that's different from NPC, IFBB, right? So, you know, they're generally, and again, it's going to depend on the panel of judges at the IFBB, I would say. It's not hugely dependent on the panel of PCA. Is they're generally looking for more conditioning, drier look, harder posing. There's more poses, there's quarter turns. You know, whereas IFBB is just front pose, rear pose, right? And your physique just started to gravitate more towards that. And as we kind of followed what your physique was giving us, so it just started leaning more towards that leaner, drier look, and we just carried that through rather than for like NPC, we might have moved it back the other way, not to let you get too dry. And it just got more towards the criteria as you went. And on the day, there were some really good competitors, right? Like the girl that got 2nd in the overall, I think she's coached by Tom Hames.
Yeah.
What's her name, sorry?
I only know her by her Instagram.
Yeah, what's her Instagram name?
I don't think I saw it.
S-A Will. Oh, my brain's gone. Sorry. Prep brain. ESA.
Yeah, so I didn't know who would have it
Wilkinson.
between you two, because
I thought she had it.
she's really, really good. But she's very muscular.
No.
I feel like maybe that, like they might have been judging it like, yeah, she's more towards maybe closer to the lower rung of figure, or
I think
maybe
she's
more trained or something like that.
I can definitely see her long term, obviously in bikini, but also bikini trained.
Yeah.
But when I was in that overall, I generally thought, I generally thought she had it. I was ready to give her a hug, and then she gave
Esther
me.
Wilkinson, PhD. No.
Yes, Esther Wilkinson.
So
Mad team.
I think like an American NPC show, a little softer than she is there, she'd smash it. She's got a really cool physique. She presents it well as well. But anyway, yeah, that overall, there was very good physiques in there.
Yeah.
I do just think when I was looking back at the photos, I think you're just a bit closer to the criteria.
And just to say as well, guys, what was funny, I was watching the video and you can hear the video and Joe's like, yeah, I think Jazz has got second in this overall.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's easy to
just
think that
a
because
dream.
it's difficult with judging, right? Especially judging in bikini, and especially if you're a fan of bodybuilding, right? You're like, I'm looking at someone like her and I'm thinking, yeah, she's bigger.
She used Jazz.
Yeah,
she's Jack.
She's a bit crispier.
She's got way more muscle
You know,
than
it's
me.
like that. Like as any bodybuilding fan, you're like, yeah, bigger muscles and like harder condition. Like we like that, but you know, it speaks to like judges' ability to be objective and subjective of like, you know, judge to the criteria, not to like what I like.
Yeah.
And that happens like way too often in judging where it goes the other way. Like this judge prefers this look, and that's something I have to do as a coach. That, you know, with my pro clients or pro qualified clients on the IFBB circuit, I have to follow who's judging where and what they like. You know, like some of the specifics that we did for Ben Weider, given the way Maz likes people to come in, you know.
Yeah, I've had that before, that Maslow's condition. But yeah, I've had a few people ask me like, was PCA the goal? And you know it wasn't. Like, hell no. In my head, I was like, nope. And I had it in my head that I wasn't what the PCA wanted. There was no chance. And being totally honest as well, it was one of those situations where, you know, when we talk about like our logistics as a couple, I think it's important to kind of take that into consideration, because I knew in my head that if Corey didn't get the pro card at the Ben Weider, I knew that he would be jumping straight into FIBO. And when I looked at the following week, I knew that my mum was away on holiday. I know that your mum wouldn't be able to do that long period of time. I remember thinking, okay, thinking logically here, it's better for Joe to go to FIBO than for me to do it. And dog cover wise, we can't get dog cover. So when I kind of had that in my head, I was like, right, okay, these are the cards I've got, what shall I play with? And I remember thinking to myself, I feel like after the Ben Weider, I was like I was saying in a weird headspace, but like in a good headspace to kind of go, what if, Jazz, you just throw yourself back into PCA? Like, it's down the road from you. Like, it logically made sense. And I also thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to bring this physique ever again, which we'll go into a later point. But like, I just thought, you know what, bloody sod it. Like, just sod it. Keep it quiet. Don't tell anyone. And I knew, like, after the peak week we did at Ben Weider, I was like, I think we could tweak this and bring something. And the goal for me at that PCA show generally was third place. I just wanted third place. I wanted an invite. Like, that's generally all I wanted. And I still don't understand or quite believe what happens. But there you go. It just shows that sometimes third time's the lucky. And it's crazy how many people have messaged to be like, well, like, you've come back after 5-6 years and you've had all those knockbacks and you've just like gone again. And I think people were very surprised to see me there. Everyone was like, what are you doing here? I was like, I don't know what I'm doing at PCA.
I'm coming to win it.
I don't
That's
know.
what I'm doing.
I'm going for third. So
I think that fuck it mentality worked for you though. Because I remember the Wednesday I was training in the Corpus and you sent me the PCA posing shots. And he was like, yeah, I'm just chilled. And I remember like glancing. I don't really look at my phone when I train. I was like, the fuck? I was like, this is sick. And I was like, yeah, cool. This is working.
The thing is as well, like, off the back of the Ben Weider, we saw like you were very stressed and pressured on the day.
yeah.
And it changed your physique. Like your stress response is always to hold fluid over like your quads and your glutes.
Oh God, my legs
nothing
just
you can really
swell.
do about that, right? But then with the PCA, it was a bit more, I don't want to say nonchalant, but it was
Shalom's a funny word, isn't it?
it was definitely less pressured than, you know, it was just down the road, you had no expectations,
It was so nice to wake up and
we didn't have like a big crew of people come in or a videographer or anything. So, you know, it was you can stay at home and, you know, it was all quite easy going. And I know that you felt quite good going through the peak week as well, because we peaked in a structure that like
so much better.
You're quite familiar with and like know what happens and the way that you know that you're gonna feel better, because like feeling better, it doesn't always link to your best look. Like Corey's best look by a long stretch was on Saturday, right? But he would have felt like absolute death, you know. So that's not always the most like accurate biomarker, but it certainly fed into your best physique that you've ever put on stage, so that was cool. So obviously that was a good result for the team. The day before wasn't a good result for the team.
It was still.
So, well, it was great, you know, to go, look, this year I've gone to the Arnold Classic, one of the biggest IFBB shows in the world, and I've got a class win. I've gone to FIBO, which I'm pretty sure is the biggest fitness expo in the world. It definitely is in Europe. And I got a class win in classic, in both circumstances, in the most competitive class as well. I can't not be happy with that. At the same time, I can't not hurt that we didn't get what we'd come for and what Corey had worked for. So there's a great deal of pain in that, especially that, you know, with Corey and his wife, Mads, I've travelled multiple countries with them. I've spent days on end with them. I've been very heavily invested in the process. Every morning for the last 2.5 months, I've opened my eyes to an alarm, to a WhatsApp from Corey at 5 a.m, and I've checked him in immediately. And seriously, yesterday was so strange, because you know this, it's a big dopamine hit for you, man. And I'm waking up before the alarm, sat there with WhatsApp open, waiting for it, like, you know, and then I didn't get it yesterday and today. And it was a big slump for
He's
me.
missing you, basically.
I was like, I was very tired. I texted him saying, man, I'm really like missing our connections right now.
Yeah.
And he replied like, mate, it just doesn't feel right. It's quite weird. But
I'm in a free
anyway,
relationship right now.
Yeah.
what I wanted to ask about that, Brad, was two things really. Two subjects. Is like emotionally, how do you deal with loss with clients or not nailing the target goal when you know the work that's gone into it? But also, how do you deal with when you know you've missed your mark as a coach? And look, I'll put context on that. I don't think that I missed my mark at the weekend, but I have done before. Yeah, every good coach has.
Yeah, 100%.
I've definitely made mistakes.
I think we're very similar in the fact that we love and live for our routine. So when something is part of that routine, like you say, a set check-in at a set time that you expect and it's built into your day, it does feel like there's a hole like missing. One thing that I do kind of post-show with clients is I keep that continuous check-in for a while just to make sure that their kind of like post-show behaviours are quite good. So it's still there to a degree, and then we kind of wean it out for a while. Like, I think it's good for them, but also good for like you as a coach as well, because it keeps that routine and also the client kind of connection. But yeah, it's weird. Like, it doesn't sit well with me. I sit there and I get like really anxious. I'm like, oh, are they gonna just send a check-in to just say how they're feeling? And I just end up sitting there like, shit, like, this feels a bit odd.
I think people don't talk about the coach, how, like, they always talk about the client post-show, but no one actually talks about like the coach post-show.
Yeah.
Well, I know Corey, like, he's like me and you, like the set meal plan, the set training time, the set sleep time, everything has to be bang. So we went literally from the show to the airport, because I had to get back for PCA the next morning. And as soon as we got in the airport, Mads and Corey got some food, and I stood at the end of their table on my Mac, and with the new PC sheets, I wrote his whole next block out, like nutrition, everything, training block.
Yeah.
Paragraphs on paragraphs of context of why we're doing this, built the whole phase periodization right up to when the next planned show is, built in mad states that she's starting prepping for being in there. I sent it to him, I was like, right, there you go, because I know tomorrow morning this is what you're going to be doing. It doesn't matter, you don't take a few days off to chill out post show or whatever. He was talking to him last night, because Mads booked a holiday for them last minute was it Cos?
I think it's called.
He voice noted me yesterday like, bro, just tell me what the best thing for me to do is here. Shall I stick to my meal plan out there? And he's like, I don't want you to think about my recovery or whatever. He was like, just tell me what.
Yeah.
He was going, please, just tell me what I need to do.
Yeah.
And they're the clients, honestly, like, super disordered behaviour. It's not what the general public would consider healthy psychologically, but it builds champions in the sport. Relentless adherence.
I think it also like brings about the argument as if to be, if you turn around and say to him, no bro, go switch off, would that then become unhealthy for that individual? Because
or
it's
impossible.
Because I couldn't do that. If someone said to me, surprise holiday tomorrow, I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah,
like,
stress.
I'd be like, Joe, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like,
You know what helped my situation is
And
try
this
going on
is what it
holiday.
was. No, you know what it's like when we go on holiday. You know, like if I know for a while that we're going and I can plan for it and whatnot, it's fine. Or like even like this trip to Germany, right? And this is a different topic, but look, anywhere, especially in the Western world, you can find a gym.
Yeah.
You can track food.
Mm-hmm.
You know, should you? I don't know. If you're in prep, yeah, obviously. But you know, there's a great discussion about what makes you like happiest.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to somebody about this week. They're like, oh, don't you ever miss the gym environment? Like, seeing people just train at home. I said, no, it's one of my favourite things to train at home.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I can be alone.
The piece of it,
Yeah, I can just be alone and just do like what I love to do on my own machines and play my own music.
Had the dogs out, just
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like food. Like, I get great satisfaction over just eating the same things every day.
Yep.
Whereas you don't.
people
like
can't
that.
understand that me and you are so different.
It's just like, why don't you just switch off, man? Why don't you just relax? I'm like, that's not relaxing. to me.
Yeah, that's
In fact,
anxiety.
that's quite stressful.
I'm exactly the same. It's that same like when people are like, oh, what do you crave in prep? I don't crave anything in prep. It's like, if anything, if I'm hungry, I just want a little bit more of the things that I'm already eating.
Yeah.
Like,
But that's also because you derive all of your pleasure from your achievements and your progression.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think very, very few people outside of our world really understand that. But how like, so in my position where you've had a client compete, like Corey, right? So imagine you're me right now, or imagine you're me on Saturday, and you bring them in the best they've looked, but you've had to absolutely kill the client to get there. And it's the, let's say, third, fourth, fifth time doing it. You can't keep doing this without destroying the client. And they lose by 1 point. And, admittedly, all objectivity taken into account is the wrong decision. How do you deal with that?
in front of the client as professionally as possible, basically reassure them that there was nothing we could do. Behind closed doors, fucking cry my heart out. Literally kick everything, smash everything. Like, it's literally, yeah. It's a subjective sport. It's something that we can track and monitor and process and collect as much data and apply everything that we possibly can. But if a judge favours one thing over another, we can't change that. And it's something that, as shit as it is part of the sport, but it still doesn't hurt any less when it happens. Like, there's not really anything you can do in that situation. I watched that, and as soon as Corey walked out, I was like, I don't want to say this is a sure thing, but I'm looking at that lineup thinking, this is a sure fucking thing. This is in the bag. I was like, this is the one that they've been waiting for. And then when that call out happened, I was like, what?
I think I've always noticed you crying.
You did. You did. I heard you cry and I was like, I don't even know what to respond to this. Like, the Physique Collective chat's going off. Going, what's the result? And I'm like, I can't bring myself to put in the result. Like, I'm not, nah.
Yeah, did you see? I didn't reply, or I couldn't even look at my phone because I could feel. It was weird. I was like walking backstage and I could feel my phone going. Boom, 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 boom. I must have got 35, 40 messages. Like, what the fuck? Blah blah blah. My Instagrams.
Yeah.
And you know, there was this weird moment. Me and Mads were stood like front row to the right side of the stage, like stage left, and I was like staring at Corey's number as the judges were calling out the numbers. Like, I was just staring at it to make sure that number was like burnt in my head. So I was sure when they called him first that it was him, you know, and I was so sure. And they called the other number, and it was like, as weak as Mads was stood in front of me, and we both did the same thing. It's like everyone around us kind of went, there was this weird awkward like, and there was like 3 claps. It was really weird, and the place was packed. it just felt really awkward, and we were both just stood there like, it was like time slowed down so slow.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to even remember, because it was like, I just kind of stood and I couldn't move or say. It was like, that happened. That's what it's like, that has just happened. And it was worse than the Arnolds, because like, Arnolds, I thought the guy that won it was great.
Yeah, the guy was.
And I thought that they were just very different physiques.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and it can go, you know, those kind of ways, but this time, structurally, I thought they were pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought Corey had him everywhere. You know, people listening to this are going to think, yeah, you would say that, you're his coach. Look, I get that. Obviously, I'm going to favour my own client. But being as objective as possible, you know, from what I spoke about the judges, I'm just, with the judges, I'm just looking forward to seeing the scorecards.
Well, I said to you at Arnold's, I was like, you could understand, I could see why the other guy got it. Like, there was an argument there, but like, I've never, ever in my life ever been sure of anything more than that FIBO. I looked at it and I was like, nah, come on.
And that's why I didn't complain after Arnold's.
Yeah.
Because I said to Corey, bro, that guy's really good.
Yeah.
You were really good as well. It's no problem, you got beat today. Just keep working at it, man. No, but same thing with the Ben Weeder.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, Brandon's sick.
Brandon was sick.
You got beat by a really good dude. It's no problem.
Is he competing anymore?
No.
This year? No.
No, so
I'm gonna plug the classic recap podcast that we did last night, because we actually picked apart the overall lineup and went through exactly
FIBO?
every year. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
I got some of the footage from it, and for those who are like, oh yeah, of course, like team and coach are gonna say that, like watch the footage, because
it's on this channel.
Literally there, you can see it. I even brought up even just the tiny details, like Corey's tan. Corey's tan stood out on stage
Mads
as well.
Yeah, so
did that
Mads did it. Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I had to shout out to Mads.
Mads did it in
Clean,
the hotel.
his glaze was on point. Like the other two in his lineup didn't even look like they had glaze on. They just looked very
There
matte.
was one guy that looked like he's only got like one coat on. He was really good. He looked quite young. He was really nice, man. Lovely. But again, there were guys in that overall lineup that I thought were quite clearly better than the winner. I don't want to dog on this guy at all, because he is good.
Yeah.
Like I can't say like he's not like
They were
an
very
obvious
good.
amateur or anything. Like he definitely could and has now won a pro card. He was really good, but that strong lineup, man.
Top tip for guys as well though, when you glaze them, I do find, I don't know if it's just because they cut water most of the time, their skin like dries out, like they're very dry. So I always find occasionally when I've glazed someone, if I go over to see the guy, I kind of tap them and go, hang on, you need more. So that's something important to kind of note if you are a guy and you are doing your own glaze. Obviously don't pour the whole stuff on you, don't go stupid, but that is quite common with guys when they have, you know, cut water, that you might need to, you know, put some show shine on, sit with it, and then see where you're at the same time.
So as you know, I glaze most of my clients myself.
You got to talk about the best.
Or you do it for me if I'm there. So I'll tell you what I do.
I was waiting for that.
And like what we did with Corey, because Mads was glaze. So my favourite glaze is hot stuff, as you know. That's still considered glaze, isn't it? Well, it glazes the individual, doesn't it? You put it on over the tan. So what I'll normally do is like over glaze, especially specific spots like the midsection and the top line. Delts, pecs, like almost get them too glazed. About maybe 15 minutes before they're called to line up, and then I'll have them pose, run through some poses, maybe just like, but I'm not talking about hard contractions, because that's a different thing to talk about with retaining formless and stuff, but we're kind of just moving around routines and stuff, give it 5 minutes, and then check, and I'll normally have to top up like the abs, maybe the pecs a bit,
It depends.
quads, rec fem, but it do, like you say, if you're really dry, you do suck it up. Especially midsection seems to suck up, but especially some individuals, like we've been talking about Corey, his skin's lovely and tan just goes on like that, but it also just, any glaze you put on. But how sick did his glaze look on stage?
It looked good, but something as well with classic and bodybuilding, like depending on how you pose, like some people, if they've got too much glaze here, they're slipping. And I think it was Shane Cullen when I glazed him for Arnold's UK. I think he said to me, not too much on the waist and not too much on the...
Yeah, so I never...
I always get the ab and the ad mixed up.
So I never glaze like I'll get a client to dig their thumb into the lat and pull it forward, and then I'll just leave that. Because you don't want to be slipping, or you end up with your hands over your abs.
But sometimes
The trick that I've always done is liquid chalk. Before I go on stage, I liquid chalk because I get really clammy palms. So I always liquid chalk just so I have like a little bit of grip there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But as a guy though, like if you know there's like a slippery area, like don't be afraid to tell the tanners, more here, less here. Like they would rather you direct them. Obviously I kind of know, so I ask them ahead, anyway you don't want it. But yeah, top tips there.
Anyway, show season stuff.
Yes.
Corey is going to compete again this season, but I'm not going to say when and where just yet. You haven't fully decided where you're going to go from here, but we might see you back on stage this season, right? We might see you back on stage this season.
Should we give some
Should we say not in the United Kingdom? Should we say? Well, everyone's thinking that's a pro qualifier.
No, do you know what it is? It's crazy how many people have been like PCA Universe, PCA Universe, PCA Universe, new PCA Pro, which sounds ridiculous. I'm like, what? But like, I'll be totally real with this. When PCA were doing the interviews of me and they kept saying about PCA Universe, I felt really bad because I kind of left it on like, oh, I don't know, we'll see. In my head, I automatically said no. I didn't want to put it out there until like, or kind of confirm it until the day after. Because like, you know what it's like when you've just come off stage, like your head's kind of all over the place. But in my head, I automatically said to you, didn't I actually? I was like, I don't think I should do the Universe. Even though on paper, so like, you know, if I would have looked at this last year or even a year, or you know, when I never placed at PCA, I would have been like, yes, 100%, let's do it, let's go for it. But when I thought about it logically, I was thinking, right, let's think about this logically. Let's not go like crazy competitor Jasmin, let's go logical Jasmin here. I started my first show in March. Is it realistic for me? Which is crazy because I feel like if Joe said to me, right, I think you should do Universe, I'm like, cool. I actually think I generally could do it, and I can't believe I'm even saying that. I feel like I could have the welly to do it. But is it healthy for me to stay that lean for that long period of time, especially when the look of PCA is dry, it is very lean.
I think is it 5 weeks?
It would be 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Like that's, and then when I thought about it again, I thought, right, if I'm going to look at the chances of me doing well, when you've got all these other PCA qualifiers with all these girls that are coming in and they're going to look fresher. Yeah, they're going to look better than me. I just thought, I just wanted a third place at this PCA.
Yeah, 5 weeks is a really awkward amount of time.
So yeah.
Because you don't have time to like get fresh, gain a bit of body fat, relax and then come back. Especially with how lean PCA like it. And like, especially for female competitors, you've got your physiological health and specifically your endocrine system, you know, to have suppressed androgens, estrogens, T3, T4, or on the other side of the coin, if you're a PED user, what are you going to do with your androgen exposure? Like 5 weeks is awkward, especially if you're using like a long-estered injectable. Like we're going to come off and go back on like 2 weeks out or something, and then like your blood androgens have only dipped a little bit, so like your risk of virilization is going only up for every additional week that you're on, especially depending how long you've been on or whatever you're doing with drugs. If you're using lipolytics, like nervous system cranking adrenaline every day alongside all the cortisol and adrenaline that you're driving just from being in a deficit or retaining that low level of body fat. I find most people like you said, you have the welly to do it, like psychologically, especially when you're there and you've come off a win, like you've got that motivation to go through it. You know what I mean?
I gained everything and more than what I ever would have imagined. Just getting third place on its own to get what I have, I feel like that chapter's closed in my life. Like that chapter with PCA, oh my god, it surpassed everything I ever wanted. But yeah, I think it's easy to kind of like maybe get blindsided by like what everyone's like, oh, you're going to Universe, you're going to Universe, going to Universe, and get swept into it. And it's like, hang on, take a bloody second. Yeah. Don't put your irrational competitor hat on. Put the logical hat on. And I think that's something that over time, like I think you maybe just learn to do better. But yeah, it was mad. Like in my head, I was like, I just knew I knew I wasn't going to do it, but I felt really guilty because they were asking me and I was like,
So it's up in the air what you're going to do right now.
Yes.
I'm in the depths of show season where, so this weekend I've got Carol at the Charlotte Pro. I'm not going to be out. I'm going to be at the New York Pro when she does that in.
Is she doing Pittsburgh?
4 weeks. No, she's doing the New York Pro. I think she did Pittsburgh. No, she did Texas last year. But anyway, after this weekend, I've got 9 weeks on the trot of travel to client shows. So anyway, we can talk about all that stuff in a later podcast. I've got clients at the PCA Universe, but I'll actually be out in LA, won't I, with Tony. But Brad, you're actually in prep, bro. Yeah. And this week especially, it's going off. People obviously followed the context of the RFL, and all the way through that it was like, wait and see what's going to happen on the other side of this with all of the things that we're going to do with training, with drugs, with food, like to create this like crazy rebound, super compensation, recomposition outcome.
You are competing next week, right?
And it's been elucidated, especially this week, right, where like food's going up quite aggressively, but weight's coming down.
Just under 3,800.
Yeah, so you're eating 2,000 calories more than you ended the last phase, and weight's dropping, and you're getting leaner and fuller and bigger. And we've got drug inputs in there like insulin that like should be making you like retain weight. And, bro, it's mad.
It makes no sense.
Explain.
We don't know. We're just rolling with it.
It's a mystery at this point. Throw enough drugs at it and just shit works.
Exactly that. It's nuts. Like, and this is like, people keep calling bullshit. They're like, no, you've got to show, like, you plan a secret show.
You are planning.
I was like, unless Joe hasn't told me, like, I'm 19 weeks out and it's 3rd of September is the first one. So they're like, no, I call bullshit. It's going to be, I was like, if Joe says we'll do an earlier show, then I know that'll be the best decision. But until Joe says anything else, this is what I do. I just follow the lead.
I think the thing is, like, if you were prepping traditionally now and you'd been just running a linear deficit, you were as lean as you are now, like, fatigue would be a huge issue.
Yeah.
But like, we're literally increasing food every week. Like, you're recovering from your training perfect. Drugs are like astoundingly low.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we actually doing that's going to skew the outcome? Like, if you're getting leaner now, great, we'll just keep you in a surplus even longer. Like,
exactly.
Imagine you only have to go into a deficit like 12 weeks out, or like 8 weeks out or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like fatigue's a problem. Fatigue's dropping off.
Yep, exactly.
So
that. Like,
it's just crazy.
Everything. And like I said the other day, I've found such a sweet kind of routine and pocket of progression. Why ruin that for an early prep for no reason?
Yeah.
Like, what? Maybe turn up at quieter shows with less competition? But that's not really how I want to do it. Like,
yeah, and there's such a great collection of shows around that time, and a lot of our friends are competing there as well. So they're going to be like some really cool days.
Yeah.
Like, I've got at your first show, it was a compact, isn't it? You're doing your first show.
No, September the 3rd is PCA.
PCA.
Manchester.
Oh yeah, that's the week before, because there's a PCA show on the 10th of September.
Yeah, it's in
Yeah, because Brambleby's doing
Brambleby's
that one while I'm doing compact.
Yeah, so I've got you, Kirkham, Alex Williams and Scott Robertson at compact.
Yeah.
So far, I
sick.
think there's a few more that might drop into it as we go. But yeah, what
Compact
a show.
classic.
It's always a good show.
Yeah,
That's literally the only fair show I've got any clients competing in this year.
It's on the doorstep as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and do you know what? It wasn't even that. They asked me.
That's cool.
In fact, I think this is the first year, other than I can think of Conor Roycroft, it's his first prep. I've coached him for a long time, and he's got down to like contest lean positions in his diet. The guy's a maniac. Apart from him, this year, my clients all came to me with the shows that they wanted to do.
Do you prefer that? Do you prefer that?
I don't mind.
I kind of left it up to Joe and just said like whatever you think. I know we spoke about the change to shows with France, the potential of that one. That's the only one that kind of got discussed and like potentially swapped around. But
I mean, like, do you prefer clients coming to you being like, I have these plans, or would you?
As long as they're realistic with their plans and their time frames. Because I've had clients come to me and go, right, I want to do this, and I was like, not a chance. Like, you've not given me anywhere near enough time for that. And as much as you'd like to do it, I'm either going to have to absolutely fucking kill you to get there, which isn't going to give us the best look, or we're just not going to make it. So no.
Yeah, I think the thing is for me as well. The last few years, I've coached a lot of FitX, PCA, like NFM UK, but that's changed over time. over half of my competitors this year are only doing IFBB shows, so whether that be with Two Rows or another promoter or whatever it is. So, and like they're, like essentially they are what they are, aren't they? Especially if you go into pro qualifiers, like you do this one, and then if you don't get it there, you do this one.
Yeah.
And then if you don't get it there, you do this one. And that's a topic I'm going to actually record a video on for Physique Collective today, which is like, when do you call it?
Yeah.
And what do you do? I'm looking forward to Italy.
That's gonna be sick.
The Masters. I've never been to a Masters only show.
That's gonna be so cool.
I love Masters
I want to take my mum to it.
classes.
Yeah.
So we got Ryan Kirkham and Tony's competing.
I think so.
I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna like try and pry because Tony hasn't got a coach. Actually, she's coaching herself. I'm gonna say, Tony, since I'm like going out of the way, like, can I peek you for the show?
I love that.
Do it.
I really like.
She
I dropped down Kirkham's checking the other day. I was like, yeah, bro, just let Tony know, like no pressure, but if she fancies it, if it's something that she'd want, like, yeah, I'd love to peek her for that show, bro.
She would love that.
that'd be
because
sick.
because I'm there, you
Yeah.
know, so like, look,
Makes
I'll be
sense.
peeking Ryan, like, unless she's like, nah, Joe, you're a rubbish coach. Maybe, fair enough, I'll take it. Emma Thackeray was going to do that show, but she's not now, but she's still coming.
Cool.
I think her and John are coming out, so, you know, big crew coming out. So you guys will have to come.
Yeah.
It'd be good to get more of the PC gang to like the international shows.
I would have come to Germany if I wasn't at FitX this weekend just gone. So
Where in Italy is it?
I don't know.
I
Rome.
looked the other day because I was talking to Kerry about it. And she was
Yeah.
like, "Do you definitely want to do France?" I was like, "I'd love to do France." And I was just like, and then I was looking around that sort of time to see what else was around. So I was like, "Oh, I don't want to go get Bramble because he's fucking sick." But I was looking at
That's a very, very close call. And it's me being honest and objective. And you know what, I have to be, because you're both clients and I want you both to get your card. So I have to think, if they end up in the same show, who's winning?
We're at the same region.
And then where
like
do I
16.
Oh, it is.
Well, yeah. And then where do I put who, if they place where, and things like this. And, you know, right now, you're very different physiques.
Yeah, I've said
And
that.
both you've got more muscle in different places, different attributes.
He's put together much better.
He is.
100% structurally better.
Yeah, he's more classically classic.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Which is what IFBB are going for right now. You can see they will pick the classic as classic can be.
It's going to depend on the show, mate.
I was
They
gonna say,
did
it
at
depends.
Arnold's. The American panel certainly did that panel that was in America. The EU shows thus far, I don't think so. We'll have to see. And again, and there's another thing for the coaches, like, look who's on the panel.
Yeah.
See how they judged who and look at their scorecards from the weeks before. What did they score the best? And then look at that athlete and how they presented and be tactical with it.
That Masters place is in Rome. Jake checked it.
Oh, nice. Beautiful. What was I going to say then? Yeah, so yeah, Ryan's definitely put together better.
Yeah.
You both present very well. Presentation's his thing, so I know that he's going to come with the fire.
Oh, 100%.
But I know that you work
it as well,
relentlessly on your posing. You've got more muscle, I think, in total. I think you'll be closer to the cap than him.
I'm a little bit taller, so I think I get a little bit more because he's.
What
at the
class
lower-
are you? C?
B.
B.
He's at the lower end of B, so he gets.
Oh, so you're both in B?
Yeah, I'm at the higher end of B, so I think I get 197 pounds. I think he only gets 190.
So it's 89 kilos, class B.
I'm so glad I don't steal with that crap.
89.
I'm
It's
95
It's
now.
not so. Yeah. So you're under the cap, Ryan's under the cap. Where it gets difficult is like Corey.
Yeah, I'm not going to be anywhere near like struggle. It'll be easy to get.
Like Corey's.
Don't jinx it.
Corey was eating and drinking nothing, taking peat max, nailing caffeine, and sitting in the sauna on the day of weigh-ins.
Did he have a load of nicotine as well?
That's I like the nicotine gum protocol to make him poo.
Oh, that was something different. Okay.
I was going to say that's something.
Clear out some GI space,
Yeah.
Jazz. Welcome to bodybuilding.
Look, if I have a show day shit, I'm the happiest person on show day, and I tell everyone.
Have you ever
show day
used
shit.
like glycerin suppositories?
No, luckily never needed to. But
I have.
They're gross.
I have. You've used
I hate
them.
it.
The problem that you'll have, like, you know, where a client gets super nervous and then they're like backed up.
yep.
You can just pop the suppository in there.
It didn't work for me. I think I just freaked out.
I've been lucky with clients and myself that, like, if it gets that, I'm like, right, go have a couple of espressos.
Yeah,
should get
that's
the job
better.
done, and they're like, yeah, perfect.
If
done.
you get a triple espresso and munch 2 milligrams of nicotine gum, you can normally get it moving.
And never sleep again.
Never sleep again. I wouldn't feel that at all.
That doesn't touch me either.
But
I don't nicotine, do I?
Oh yeah, you don't, do you?
Caffeine doesn't really touch me.
The day of FIBO, I got about like 90 minutes sleep on my Aura. And so I woke up at my hotel and went down to breakfast. And I've been doing the same breakfast, just a pot of coffee. So it just bought me it's like that, it's like for your whole table. And it ended up like 3.5 cups. Jeez. I drank my 3.5 cups, called my Uber, went to...
the life of an online coach right now, literally.
Went to Corey's hotel, right, got there. So it's like when he's getting up, right, so because as a coach, you got to get up and you got to get there before they're up and stuff. So I get there and we're driving diuresis, right, and he'd taken his thyroid meds as normal an hour before, so you take your caffeine an hour after. I said, right, it's time for your caffeine, you've had your peak max, so but we increase homeostatic caffeine intake to increase homeostatic diuresis, right, so the dose he was using was like 400 milligrams of caffeine, right, and we had this DY Nutrition pre-workout, there was 400 milligrams of caffeine. So he banged a dry scoop of that in. I said,
how many of those?
I think there's 200 in one. Yeah.
Right.
So then I banged a scoop of that, and this was 20 minutes after them 3.5 coffees. So now I must be like 600, 700 milligram caffeine deep, right?
What?
And then I started running Corey through his poses. I sat down, and I was going, I was like, why?
That's mad.
I was like, how? This is not real. And then, on the way to FIBO, I munched one of the modafinils that you gave. I was thinking, this is ridiculous. But I couldn't. It's like a show day. Do you need anything, bro? Get them resistance bands right. Oh, they're lining you up and then you run it. What time's be on? Who's on at this time? Right? What are we on now? Oh, back to the stage. Yeah. You're running around the front of the stage. Who's on now? Come around back. Okay, we've got about 15 minutes to start up. Like, if you're not on, and I couldn't get on. It was like there was so much of a recovery debt that I couldn't get on. I remember I got backstage and I was chatting to Maya Winston and stuff, and like we had about half an hour. The fitness girls were going on, or I can't remember if they had fitness, but one of the women's girls were going on. I sat on this like box, this fly case, and I was like, ugh. And then they went to dinner. Bro, you asked Corey, I had to stand up. It was freezing and raining, and take my jumper off and walk round in circles for 5 minutes to stop me falling asleep at the table. I was like, why do these stimulants not working? Yeah. So there is a point of no return.
Literally no return when you're that fatigued.
But
nice.
Coaching is what it is, isn't
You've
it?
sold it to me.
I thought I was alright at PCA though.
I was very surprised, to be fair.
I got home though and I was like,
I don't think we actually said much to each other. We kind of just like...
My mouth didn't work anymore.
It gets to that point where you can't, can you? You almost forget that communication exists and you just staring it like into the abyss and you're like, oh, hold on, I haven't said anything to anyone. Or someone will go, are you alright? You're like, yeah, why? And you just don't even register that like you haven't said anything.
I think we tried to have a conversation, we registered each other and just went,
The thing is, I was so gassed off the win.
Yeah.
And I got a big burst of energy that carried me through you going Nando's and stuff. Yeah. And driving home, I was gassed.
Coaching.
We were both hyping on it, weren't we? Fucking listening to drum and bass.
I cried my eyes out, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was that person.
And then, I think we got in and it just faded. And the thing is with the coach as well, that was Sunday night. And what you doing Monday morning?
Straight back to it, yeah.
Yeah, checking clients in.
I think people don't actually sometimes appreciate, from a coach's point of view, they, in show season, don't get time off. Like, hairdressers, they work a Saturday, but yeah, they get that Sunday, Monday. Online coaches don't, and I think that's something that I think is really important to kind of note to people, is like, your coach is working tirelessly and they will not stop going. And I think it's like obviously having that like awareness, I guess like an appreciation as well, because I see it firsthand with obviously like you, Brad, and you, Joe. Like they don't stop, and there's no. I would love to say Joe, just relax. I know he can't, so it's really tough.
There is no.
There isn't. So
back to what we first spoke about. Like if I sit and try and watch TV, it's too much anxiety for me to deal with. If I can't get to because we have an hour, don't we, at the end of the day that we sit down.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
And if I if I can't get to that point where I feel satisfied that I've done enough work that day, I can't relax. So like, all of my day is fundamentally about like, right, it's almost like motivating to me, like, right, if I absolutely hammer it all day, I'll feel okay later.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
I'm the same, from 8:30 till 9:30, that's the time where I try because I'm shit, not look at my phone, because I'm like, right, I've done everything from 5 o'clock this morning, non-stop, so therefore I'm allowed this hour to just sit and just not do anything work related.
Yeah.
But even then, you see your phone flash up and you're like...
Yeah, I've started leaving my phone on charge in my office.
I need to do that.
That's helped. But then even like last night, I knew that Mads would have messaged me, didn't I? I said, I need to go and get this message. And then you sat there, and you realise you've been there for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's the problem.
No.
Someone else messages
Now
you.
I've got my phone. Yeah,
I'll do this.
Mads has just messaged me. And you're like, you come in and I was like, hold on, Holly's just messaged me.
Yeah, that's the problem. It just then spirals. You're like, because then you think to yourself, I'll leave that for the morning. But you're like, no, because then there'll be all the morning stuff to do as well. I'm like, I should just do this now.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you for joining me in the Doghouse today, guys.
Can I just say the task of getting these chairs in this doghouse was a bloody mission.
But there is some equipment being removed today, so we'll have ease of access. But yeah, sweet guys. Hope you enjoyed today's sit-down discussion. Any questions? Please pop them on the Physique Collective forum or in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Tag us on Instagram, post it to your stories. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.